Hey friends, welcome to the School of Hard Knocks. My name is Darcie and I'm a proud multi-graduate of the school we call life. This is your place to get unstuck from trauma and stuck in your healing. Go grab your favorite drink, get yourself nice and cozy, and let's walk this journey together. Just a quick reminder. This podcast shares personal stories and lived experiences. It's not therapy. It's not counseling or legal advice. If you need professional help, please reach out to a licensed provider. Welcome back to the School of Hard Knocks. I am Darcie Burtch, your podcast host today. We are going to be talking about something that I think lays heavy on my heart no matter how much healing that I've done, and that is the fear of disappointing other people. So let me just tell you a little bit about why this is kind of top of mind for me. So Eric and I love our church. We volunteer at the church. We volunteer during a special needs service that we have at our church. And we absolutely love it. It is such a fun time. We love our whole entire congregation, our pastor, like everything about it. And for the last 2 months, I have been really inconsistent about going to church. Not because I didn't want to go, but because I had taken the NLP class that ran the whole entire week, even on a Sunday. So I had to miss out on church. We couldn't volunteer at the homeless shelter last month. Also because I took another class that ended up running on the weekend. And if we couldn't volunteer, I missed a couple of my women's Bible studies that I do on the first and third Saturday of every month. Shoot, I've even missed the Bible study that I do every Tuesday at 6:00 in the morning with some of the ladies that I was introduced to that I'm reading the Bible in a year with. So that I had gotten sick and wasn't able to go to church. So I'm feeling a little bit like guilty, not about hurting anybody at church, but not wanting to upset the Lord. So obviously he knows I'm not faking it and I have things going on. But Sunday, so today is Tuesday, and Sunday Eric and I went to church. Saturday my back started acting up. So I pinched my sciatic nerve within the first 2 months of my dad being home. So back in 2022 already. And I've only had 4 or 5 flare-ups with it since then. Like I've had aching, I've had some pain, but nothing that's not, unmanageable. But the 4 or 5 times that it did flare up where it was horrible, it was pretty much like, put me down. I don't know what I'm doing. This is horrible. I can't take it. The first time actually that it happened, I remember having to crawl from the sofa into my dad's bedroom to pull myself up to be able to grab his legs to swing his legs into bed when Eric guided his head and his upper body into bed. And I remember just being in so much pain. So this past weekend is the 4th or 5th time that this has happened since 2022. And I've learned what to do by talking to my friend who's a masseuse, by going to a chiropractor. We bought one of those like massage guns or whatever. I have a TENS unit. I have peppermint oil and different muscle rubs and the soaking in the bathtub. I think what really saved me is Eric and I got a hot tub last year, and it's an outdoor one and we had to put it away, and I feel like my back just was taking a hit. I think the whole body did. It was just nice to have it, period. Anyway, I don't know how this happened this last time. Before it was always lifting my dad or spinning quickly or something like that. And I think that that's maybe what happened. I think grit was coming at me and I probably went to move and it's on my left side. And I probably tweaked it. So Saturday I was already in some pain, missed my women's Bible study. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel so bad. I actually messaged one of the women that I go to Bible study with and told her that I couldn't show up and that this is what happened. I just felt guilty about it. And then Sunday I went to church and I'm sitting there, and our church is 2 hours. So I'm not comfortable in the chair I'm sitting in. I'm like moving myself forward. I'm putting my hand above my neck. I'm kind of squeezing my neck. I got this arm outstretched over Eric, and I'm like, like he can tell that I'm in pain. So church ended at noon, and we got home. Well, we walked outside, and we were supposed to be back at church at 2 o'clock. So 2 hours later, for an hour to be able to set up and practice for the special needs church that was happening. And then a little over 2 hours with the special needs friends that we have that come to church. And I walked out the door of church, and Eric said, when we come back, and he looked at me and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I was crying. I was crying in the parking lot of church before we even got into the truck. I was like, "No, I am not okay. My back is really bad. Like, I can't even get comfortable." It was so bad. I came home, I put a massager thing on. I had to take 2 extra strength Tylenol. I never take stuff like that. And I pondered it and I pondered it. And I was like, "Babe, I don't think I can go back." I couldn't even sit during church. How am I going to be able to be up and moving and like doing this stuff that we do during special needs church? And I had to cancel our volunteering of it. The special needs church still went on, but I had to cancel, and I felt bad. And I was thinking about that, and I thought, you know, there are times in our life when we may not want to do something and we still push ourselves to do it and don't find any enjoyment out of it because we had to push ourselves to do it. But there's other times when you really enjoy doing something. And I really enjoy doing this. I enjoy serving. I enjoy helping. I enjoy being a part of the church. I have made connections with some of these special needs friends. And, one of them in particular asked for me as soon as she comes in. And it's just the sweetest thing ever, which is what my brother told me happened on Sunday. He said, "Yep." She came in and was like, "Where's Darcie?" And then he told her. Darcie heard her back. "Oh, tell her that I miss her and I was really wanting to see her and I'm going to be praying for her." And it just was like, oh my gosh. But I had to coach myself, like Coach Darcie had to coach herself and say, "Darcie, why are you feeling bad? I mean, you're missing out on something that you really wanted to do. You really wanted to be there to participate and help and have fun and enjoy the experience and all of this stuff. You're putting like an extra layer of dread on yourself." And I think so many of us do that. Maybe you've made a commitment. You were supposed to go out to dinner with your friends and you came down with something, or it was just a long week, or the kids this, or the car that, or the plumbing this, or whatever it is. You're like, "Oh my gosh, I just feel so guilty. I feel so bad." Why are we making ourselves feel bad and guilty for things that are out of our control? Like if I could have wished my sciatic nerve better, I almost wanted to push through it, but I wouldn't have been me. And I just feel like, in that kind of circumstance, they deserve the best me because they're coming in from the special, their special needs and they want happy and bubbly. And I actually do a play with my brother and another guy from church. And so I couldn't be like in this thing and doing all of this stuff. And it just hit me in this way of there's a lot of things when we're healing through going through trauma, grief, pain, loss, sadness, all of the things that I think we still hold on to these like moments that I don't want to say it's like we're extra punishing ourselves, but to a certain degree we are. This is where I talk about grace coming in. This is where I talk about if you feel like something's happening, you need to have a cry about it. If you need to take the day off, take the day off. If you need to, whatever it is that you have to do, as long as it's not harmful to you or any person around you, show yourself some grace and allow it to happen. So, what I ended up doing after I was able to stop making myself feel guilty for not going because I felt so bad about it is I laid back on my sofa with a back massager on and took the extra strength Tylenol and allowed myself to kind of conk out a little bit, which allowed me to have the best sleep of my life, literally. When you have a pinched nerve like that, or when you're in pain in your body, sleeping is almost non-existent. Sleeping already is like a hard thing for me. Sleep and I have a weird relationship. But I slept so good that night. I think I woke up one time all night long. That is like unheard of for me. I used the Better Sleep app and my score was 94. I was like, oh my gosh, normally I don't want to freak you out or anything, but I'm normally in like the 60s or the 70s. Sometimes it's even worse than that. I've had nights where it's been like 23, where I'm just up because I don't feel good, or I mean, for a month and a half almost, I had some type of sickness. So, in any case, grace goes a really long ways when you give it to other people, but it also goes a really long way when we give it to ourselves. I didn't have anything to feel guilty about. I was missed, but the show still went on. You know, like my showing up wasn't going to stop the event from happening. And even if you are in a position where they needed me to be there to open the door, they needed me to be there for the event to start, they needed me to be there, life is still going to go on. You know, like there's unforeseen things that happen in our lives that cause us to have to pump the brakes for a little bit, and that should be okay. This is why our bodies do the things that they do, because we push them so hard that they just are like, well, if you're not giving me the break, I'm forcing you to take the break. Have you experienced that? Where you're just so insanely tired, or your body just hurts so bad, or you've got the worst migraine or the worst digestion issue going on. Yeah, a lot of times that's your body saying, hi, red flag, we need to slow down. You need to love yourself today. You need to take a break. You need to lay down. You need to drink some water, take a bath, go for a walk, do something that is going to love yourself. And that's what I did on Sunday. After I was done making myself understand, I don't have to feel guilty for that. That was an unexplained thing. I didn't want it to happen. It happened, and here we are. So love yourself. Show yourself some grace. Don't forget the next time that you have to cancel plans, unless if you really wanted to cancel the plans, like, oh, yes, I really need to do this because I want to do it, which maybe that's even a self-care thing for you. I don't know. But if you find yourself in a situation where your sciatic nerve has had enough of you and you need to cancel something, don't make yourself feel guilty. Do, however, feel a little bit of guilt if you do not hit that follow button, if you don't add us to our library and share us with all of your friends. How are we supposed to help change the world if we don't have your help? See you guys in the next episode. I'd like to thank you for sharing your time with me today. And I'm so proud of you for stepping into your healing journey. Please share this with every single person that you know. I'm here to make the biggest impact possible, and I can only do that with you by my side. I hope you hit that follow button and you save me to your library so you never miss an episode. We just took another break out of your wall, and remember, with God, healing is always possible. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.